Welcome to the Kirbside podcast. I'm your host, Jay Kirby, joined here today by a good friend, a fellow nerd, and a content creator, KINGCURTLIVE of the HNIC. What's going on, Kurt?
Ooh, I just lubricated my palate with
Mm.
100 proof rum, so I'm doing pretty goddamn good, Jay.
Hell
right
yeah.
now. That's the way you started a podcast.
But we're gonna be sitting here chit-chatting about Kurt's life, Kurt's business, of course, HNIC and everything that comes along with it, and how the hell I haven't gotten fired from it.
Because we like you.
That's an accomplishment in itself. But as always, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, tap a little bell on your YouTube app so you never miss an upload. Buy our shirts at prowrestlingtees.com. And shout out to our sponsors, Raise Energy, available at repsports.com. Use the promo code Kirbside8 at checkout for a special discount. And with that, Kurt, how's it
Kirbside
going?
podcast officially Black approved.
Yeah, officially.
Officially.
I've just been going off assumptions for the past like 6 months.
I'm a full ninja. I'll be respectful on your podcast. I'm a full ninja. Trust and believe me, when the ninjas co-sign it, it's official.
But Kurt, I'll start off with the most basic questions. Where did you get your start? Where did this all start for? Because you didn't start off as KINGCURTLIVE, you became KINGCURTLIVE. Where did
I was
that
actually
start?
So one day, somewhere, I think it was like December. I don't know why my headphones just got weird. Can you hear me well? You hear me well?
Yeah,
all
yeah,
right, perfect. Somewhere in December 1981, my daddy was feeling real randy.
Right?
And pulled my mama aside and said, you know what? Tonight's the night. And then a star streaked across the sky right as he was finishing up. that's when I won the one race that every human being has to win to be here. I could have ended up in a sock, but instead, no. KINGCURTLIVE, man. So I started off very humbly. I'll go to my first open mic. I'll never forget. A friend of mine was like, "Hey, I want to do this cool thing. I want to throw together this comedy show, but I just want all first timers. It'll be funny." Kurt, I think you're funny. You should do it. And I was like, man, I'm alcohol funny. You know, we at the bar having a couple of beers. I tell a few jokes, but nothing where I'm putting together routines. At the time, I was married. And I remember my then wife saying, like, nah, I think you might be actually solid as a stand-up comedian. I was like, ooh, you people have to stop drinking alcohol. You just got to do it. But I agreed to it. I agreed to it. And it was in this dope little hotel banquet hall. Nothing crazy. One of the first times doing stand-up comedian. I actually started off as a clean comedian, no profanity, no explicit content whatsoever. And that had larger part to do with my faith at the time because I was a minister as well. So
yeah, right. I can imagine that being conflict of interest. I think that's the correct word.
Yes. So so think Sinbad, right?
Yeah.
So all my content was clean in nature, kid friendly, definitely Christian friendly, Christian comedy, if you will.
Right.
So in a room full of very pious, religious people, I did a 10-minute comedy set. And the room just lit up. Nice. It's my first time on stage. A lot of my friends were in the audience, and it felt like a fish being put in the water for the first time. It was like, oh, this feels like home. And it wasn't all my friends with the accolades and Kurt, you were really funny and this, that, and the third, because that's what you're supposed to do if you're a good friend.
Right.
Lie to me.
Right.
Right.
Like
That's
I
it.
do
I
all the
mean,
time.
you all the time, just like my girl. Your dick's so big. Oh, thanks, baby. You know, yeah, I know she's lying, but I appreciate it, right? It wasn't until I went to the bar to get a drink,
Mm.
and I sat at the bar and I took a shot back, and the bartender looked at me. He was like, "I just want to say, I didn't seen a lot of comedians come through, and you were genuinely funny." And it was at that moment I said, "Oh, wait a minute, I may have a thing." So even now to this day, I always go over to the bartender, tip them real well,
Right.
and say a couple jokes. And if they laugh, I know it's going to be a good night.
Right. Right.
And that's one of the best parts about this comedy thing and kind of building personas and rapports because, like you said, I did not start off as King Kurt Live. I actually, my first stage name was Casanova Brown. There's a popular Tina Marie song called Casanova Brown. Everybody used to talk about how Kurt was so smooth. So it fit my nom de guerre, if you will. And I was Casanova Brown for a really long time. As a matter of fact, I opened for Sinbad, Michael Blackston, and a multitude of other Kev on Stage and Tony Baker. A lot of those guys when they were first starting off under the name Casanova Brown.
Nice. I'm gonna have to YouTube that later.
Yo, and went on tour, did big, relatively big things, and then started curating my own personal shows. And that's if you look us up on YouTube, it would be the Laugh Out Loud Crew. That was our name, the Laugh Out Loud Crew, and it was a curation of a bunch of young comedians. Think RDC and these laugh groups that kind of come together, the Groundlings, stuff like that.
Right.
So this was like this was when YouTube was booming. Like nobody really thought about YouTube as a job back then. YouTube was just somewhere to put your stuff on.
Right.
But we started putting our content out there and whatnot. And I just kept chasing the stand-up comedy route. I kept getting booked. I got booked a lot in New York, and we would do our own curated shows. And I put together one of the largest independent comedy shows right at the Philadelphia Art Museum.
Nice.
And sold out 500 seats.
Wow.
On our own. And that's when I was like, okay, boom, we ready. Let's go get this. And then my wife was like, you're doing a lot. You on the road. You're a minister. Is this really what you need to be focusing on? Home is more important. And I chose home over comedy. Right. And I kind of fell into obscurity, focused more in. And then once I dumped that bitch, no, I'm joking. I'm just because she might hear this one day. I'm just Dre, it was a joke. Relax. And took everything from me. It's okay. Once we broke up and the marriage ended, one of the first things I did, I went right back to comedy. I was like, okay, let's chase it. And I'll never forget, without getting too long-winded with this, but I'll never forget my coworker Tanisha, and this was the birth of King Kurt Live. She kept saying, "Stop playing with your comedy, go do stand up." And I was like, Tanisha, I got a good job. I don't know. She said, "You got a gift. You got to stop playing with it." One day she showed up to the job. She had a box for me, and she was like, "I want you to know," because she was really sick, and she had I forget what it is, but it affects the muscles and whatnot. And she basically was going out on medical leave. And she said, "Before I go, I want to give you this gift." And the gift is the crown that I'm wearing on my head right now. And she said, "You're a king. Start acting like one. Go get your throne."
Hell yeah.
And that was the day that I changed my name to King Kurt Live.
Damn, that's a badass origin story.
Listen,
right there.
It's a hell of an origin story, right?
No, I get exactly where you're coming from with the having to choose life over the passion. We've discussed multiple times on and offline that I was also married at one time, and it was I can do this wrestling thing more, or
Mhm.
I can be at home. And it was a struggle, and it didn't work out between the two of us. There's no hard feelings now.
That's a beautiful
Um,
thing.
there it was a rough patch, I had some resentment at first, but like she's moved on. She's
Yeah.
happy now. And I wish nothing but good things for her. But like you said, as soon as the that chain was off, I was taking bookings. But she did not like collecting things, and as you can tell,
Yeah, you're quite the collector.
I kind of started just
But
picking whatever I
but
wanted
that goes
and
with
taking
nerddom.
it. Oh yeah, 1,000%. But I was just like, well, no one's here to tell me otherwise, and I can do what. And so that's what I
It feels
started
good to get
doing.
your freedom back, don't
It
it?
really does. It really does, and
It almost reminds you of who you are at your core.
it really did.
I
And
get it.
it,
Because good
mhm,
men, and I mean this, and I say this to everybody.
mhm,
Good men, when you get married, scripturally, the Bible says you become a threefold cord, you, your wife, and God. If you do it effectively, you will lose a piece of yourself because
mhm,
you're merging with another human being.
mhm.
You're converging your life and intertwining each other so that you move as one unit. When you separate that cord, you really do have to relearn yourself. It's like life,
Oh yeah,
not as a husband.
it's like you had to start over
So
completely.
yeah, it literally is. I consider it my rebirth.
Mm,
I now was relearning
mhm.
who I was, what I wanted to be. I wanted to cuss. Fuck this clean comedy shit. I've been wanting to cuss stuff since the entire goddamn time. I want to talk about, tits and ass occasionally, maybe at the same time, maybe separately, but it should be my choice.
Right,
So, I mean, it wasn't like I went completely vulgar, like all my
right.
stand up is like fuckity fuck fuck fucking fucks. But I enjoy the freedom of
Mhm.
being able to say exactly what I want.
Right. I get that. I 1,000% understand where you're coming from. So with the birth of King Kurt Live, where did the original idea concept for HNIC get started?
Jay, I swear to God, bro, and I mean this. I tell you no
Mm-hmm.
lies. Everything that I am
Mm-hmm.
was in a way given to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I am just a good steward of a
Mm-hmm.
bright idea. If that makes sense. King Kurt Live was what she envisioned,
Mm-hmm.
and I became the steward of that, the herald of Galactus, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
And Head Nerds in Charge started off with my cousin, and hopefully legally this won't come back to bite me in the ass, but my beloved cousin, Mark Knuckles Carter, Pastor Controller, Google him.
Mm-hmm.
He came to me, he said, man, Reese, that my nickname's Reese for
Mm-hmm.
all the, my friends and family. Man, Reese, there's this podcasting thing that's kind of popping up right now. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
people just talking into a mic. Remember all those conversations we used to have talking about nerd stuff and whatnot? We should do that. Let's just get a mic and sit around, me, you, and Average Joe Addison, my best
Addison,
friend.
yep.
And let's just talk about the nerdy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I like that idea. Okay, let's put it together.
Mm-hmm.
At that exact moment, we kind of started the idea of doing a podcast, and that's just what it was going to be. We were just going to do a podcast. Somewhere around that time, I got recommended for a position at an internet radio station here in Philadelphia. They were looking for comedians to write comedy for their shows. It's called PC Radio Live. And they were like, hey, look, we're looking for script writers, comedians, jokesters to write segments and blah, 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 blah. Anybody interested, let me know. Somebody was like, hey, I know this really funny comedian. He's this clean comedian. Let me put you on. That's when I got in touch with my boy, Shannon, Big Exclusive. Now, he was a very well-known mover, shaker, hustler around Philadelphia, producer of sorts. at the radio station. So he said, hey, bring the kid in. We sat down, had an interview. He liked me. I wrote some comedy for some other shows. I did a good enough job. During this time, me and Mark were still talking about doing this podcast, but we never get around to get actually doing it.
Right.
Then I did well enough for Shannon to be like, well, listen, you're kind of unique. You got this nerd thing going. Now, mind you, this is a hip hop internet radio station.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, if you could do your own show, what would you do? I said, I would do nerdy content.
I already have my format right here. Like, here it is. It's ready.
I was like, we could do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he took it to the program director. The program director was named the warden.
Mm-hmm.
And the warden was like, the fuck would we ever put some nerdy ass shit on a hip hop radio station? And I was like, bro, I'm telling you.
Bro, you didn't know that Method Man's a giant
gangsters.
nerd?
Yo, I said hip hop and nerd stuff go hand in hand. He was like, I can't see it. I said, look, give us a chance. See if it works. If it doesn't, fine. No loss. But if it does, within 3 months, we were their number one show.
Hell yeah.
We were their number one show. And though I attribute the start of HNIC, Head Nerds in Charge, because when we were fishing around for names, we wanted to make the name something Black, Afrocentric, easily recognizable as a part of that urban culture, but also catchy at the same time. Not just everybody's blurred this and blurred that. And if you don't know what a blurred is, that's a Black nerd. But everything's blurred. And I'm blurred the fuck out. I'm tired of that goddamn. So tired. And that's kind of one of the things that makes us stand out. Because my thing is, for HNIC, Head Nerds in Charge, you know it's Black in nature, but anybody could be a part of it, in it. And that's why Jay thrives. Because he's a head nerd in charge. And that's one of the things that kind of flourished out of it. And it really became its own entity and its own brand. It took on its own life. And I remember saying to the radio station, like, hey, listen, streaming is coming out. Forget this. Just let's go to Twitch. Let's go to YouTube. Let's do it. And they did not see the value of those streaming platforms the way we did. Right. And then ultimately, because they didn't really believe in it, they never signed us to a contract. So I owned it outright.
Oh.
So ultimately, I was like, thank you. We've gone as far as we can go. But I think it's time for us to find our own voice. And we went independent, and we found every medium to bring our voice. We only had like 5,000 followers.
Right.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't say, and I love the people at PC Radio. Never no hate, no nothing. But I'll never forget the warden saying to me, nobody who's ever left here has ever succeeded beyond us. And you can't say that to a ninja like me.
Nope.
That y'all see that nose flare? You can't say that to a ninja like me, because now I have every bit of motivation to prove you wrong.
Right.
500,000 followers later, countless live shows, full brand, extended network, convention, and literally we have done everything from the muscle. We have lived and died on the hill that we built. And whether we succeed or fail, we always learn lessons, and the lessons that we learn, we impart to those who are also creatives and content creators, and we try to help others up their brand. It isn't just about us. It's about making everybody a head nerd in charge, not within the brand, but within themselves. And I think that is the most important thing. We have to get to the point where we're supporting each other in our creativity and our talent, because working a 9-to-5 is ghetto.
I wish I could quit my 9-to-5, but it pays for this. So.
It pays the bills. But could you imagine if your skills could pay the bills?
Right.
And that's what we get. We got to get you in front of Vince McMahon. Don't worry, we'll get there.
Tony Khan, hire me.
Yeah. Tony, I'm gonna call you. We'll talk.
So with the birth of HNIC and with this just expansion, what have been some of your favorite memories from the show? Like guests bringing in, you know, events that you guys got to attend. Because
Jay,
I'll tell you how I first found HNIC.
Okay, I would love to hear this.
Because I'll be very honest. I was not, what's the right word? I was not in that side of the nerd culture. Being
the black side, Jay. You could just say it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fucking pale.
Yeah, that's all right. You was in the
sorry.
segregation side. It's okay.
So
it's all right. We integrated. It's okay.
I don't think I've ever told this story in an interview. So I've been trying to get into cons. I've been trying to get just the word for Kirbside out there. And I ran into Eric and Phoenix at just some random con in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And they're like, I saw their flyer for Black Label Comic Con. I was like, hey, what's this? Because I've been looking for cons to just get into. They're like, oh, it's our con, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, do you have any spots left? And they're like, we might. Let us hit you up. We'll hit you up. If you don't hear from us by Tuesday, message me. Eric said that specifically. I was like, okay, cool. So I'm sitting at the command center here Monday night, doing some editing, doing some social media, and I get bling message from Eric. Hey, we've got a spot. You still want it? Absolutely. Got it all set up. And then I go to the website because he's like, all right, cool. Your profile's on there. And I go, and I get to the bottom and I go, I'm the only white dude on this show. Well, this is going to be fun.
A lot of darkies on this goddamn program. I say that for him.
And my blessed roommate, he goes, not only did they pick a white guy, they picked the whitest guy.
I love it.
And I was like, I hate you. But then the vendor dinner Friday night happened. And I'm like, okay, just make a good impression. Don't piss anyone off. Don't talk out of turn. Just sit there and be a good boy. And then this group of 4 or 5 people walk in and take the entire room by storm. And I was like, I want to meet these people. I want to know who these guys are. And that's how I first met.
I love how you say it. You make it feel more epic than
we were, though.
We were late.
Oh yeah, you're definitely late. You're late as hell.
Late.
I was there like early. There was a whole like 5 people there when I walked in.
It was so late. That's like our calling card if we're on time. But when we show up, baby, the show's here now. The show's here. And and the one thing that I loved, and sometimes because I'm very Afrocentric, I'm very in tune with my blackness, and being pro-black does not mean being anti-white. And a lot of people have that confusion because I call a lot of brothers brother that don't look like me in skin, but have the same strength of heart and character. And that's one of the things that I love most about getting to know you, Jay, is just like even when we were at the convention, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I push off a lot of interviews to other people. Because my big thing is I never want to be the front man because I can be the front man.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Oh yeah. You definitely you have that energy.
So and I always want everybody to get their fair share of shine. HNIC is bigger than just me, but also like in meeting people and whatnot. I'm a man that kiss the I shake the babies and kiss the hands. Or kiss the hands and shake the babies. The depending on how I'm feeling for the day, right? But when I meet creators and I meet people on the grind and the hustle, and I see that you're about your business and you're really trying to work, I'm gonna work with you. It doesn't matter who you are, race, creed, or color. That's irrelevant to me. Let's work. All right, if you want to work. And fortunately, we've been able to build not only familiarity, but then a rapport and a strong friendship to the point now where you come on weekly and you are the first Caucasian person on HNIC as a regular basis as a co-host. And I fucking love that. I genuinely love that. And I remember early on, we really wanted to stress like content for us by us, but I love that we can be inclusionary, not because of your skin color, because that's irrelevant, but because you're just a good co-host. And that's the way we want. We kind of want the home we built to be like the world we want to see.
Right.
And I feel like as we work at art, in my opinion, art, much like music, doesn't see color. Art is art, and it's subjective, and you can love art or you can hate art, but at the end of the day, we all have an opinion on it. And if we could share art and we could share our creativities, that'll be the tie that binds us. And it's proof positive that Hender's in Charge is absolutely an entity greater than myself now. And I tell my crew all the time, the show will go on even without King Kurt Live. Because at the end of the day, I never wanted the entity to be contingent upon my presence.
Right.
To be effective. So when you're a part of HNIC, that's for life. NWO type shit. You know what I mean? For life. I'm just saying. Once you're branded and you can genuinely say, hey, I had this experience. Now I expect as creatives to go out and help another creative and build that rapport. We do so much free stuff that a lot of times we don't like charging or asking people for compensation on some. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, we won't have a lot of the things that we have if we don't charge money, or we try to do things as much to help out the community as we can. And HNIC as a branded entity, it is self-sustaining. Like we do well enough to be able to do events, but we never pay ourselves. I don't think a single one of us has ever taken a paycheck. Everything goes back into supporting the brand and or the creatives that are a part of the brand.
No, I feel that. Oh, yes, we see you.
Is that your dog that you're the master of?
Come on. Yes, he's a good boy.
That's all right, black brother. I see you.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy. He's defending the house because he heard a noise.
You damn right.
But yes, okay, we heard you the first time. But no, I stop it. Oh, I have to edit you out. Yeesh. But no, I feel the same way when it comes to Kirbside. Like the running joke, because we don't get a lot of revenue, and sometimes I wish we would, and I hope that we do in the future, and I'm still working towards that every day with con appearances and new merch and all that. I would love to pay the crew, but they all know that right now it's not about the money. It's just about what we can put out and what we can do. It is a funny joke though. Like when someone does a good job, be like, I'm going to double your salary.
Yeah.
Double a whole zero.
Appreciate you.
It's Kirbside. It's not about the money. And I don't feel like and trust me, I've seen people that are just about the money. I don't feel like HNIC is ever about just the money. I think it's all about the content and the people. You guys have. I would love. I think you posted it once, and it was you don't mess with people that aren't trying to be on your level or surpass you. And I look so much at HNIC, and like you said, it's not King Kurt and HNIC, or it's not Kurt, it's not HNIC featuring King Kurt. It's just HNIC, and you're just part of that team. So like so much of HNIC, I try to not copy, but I try to follow. I try to I
And
try to
wait, not
get
to
them.
interrupt you,
No, you're good. Go for it.
but bro, copy the blueprint. Because
Oh,
guess
yeah.
what? All I did
Mm-hmm.
was look at every successful person where I thought I could tangibly be,
Mm-hmm.
and just copy the blueprint. They look how they say the game is the old adage is the game is to be sold and not told. Bullshit. You don't have to sell the game. The game is for free.
Mm-hmm.
How you play the game, that makes the difference. But continue. I'm sorry, Jay.
No, you're good, and I appreciate. But like, I look at what HNIC has done and what they continue to do, and that's something that I strive for on this show. You know, I would absolutely love to have more than just curbside. I'd love to have curbside south, west, north, east. I'd love to have curbside con one day.
It's coming.
You know, a cruise. You guys have a cruise coming
Yeah,
up. Also,
yeah, yeah.
I gotta get my tickets for that. So don't
Yes,
you
yeah.
forget
No,
about me because I want to go.
when I tell you, it's because we need this stuff.
Mm.
We are in a very specific niche, right?
Mm.
And yeah, we're popping. Nerds are popping right now, and that's cute. But sometimes we just want to be with somebody that understands. I'm a wrestling nerd. Let's talk about this specific
Oh,
genre.
yeah.
I want to talk about Attitude Era. I want to talk about the WCW run. I want to talk about NWA or maybe New Japan. I want to
Yeah.
talk about AEW
Yeah.
and why it can compete with WWE. Your fair weather fan or your casual viewer
Hmm.
can't get in depth the way another nerd can,
Right.
and that's where the nuance lies.
Hmm.
You're amongst your people when you're amongst those of the same fandom.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you otaku nerds, you anime nerds, I don't understand you. I don't. I'll be
he
the first one to tell you.
he's
But when
trying
y'all
though.
get,
He's
yeah,
out here
but
trying.
hey,
What
listen,
episode of One Piece you on?
Jesus Christ, don't get me started. I had to take a break from that. Is a lot. Y'all got a lot of goddamn episodes. I'm just, and then you got a pirate on the sea that can't get in the water because he'd die. I know the devil. I got questions. I got questions. More of a Attack on Titan guy, but apparently I can't like shonen. That's what our weeb
Oh
on the show.
yeah, yeah.
Blah blah blah. I fuck with shonen. Fuck it. I like a shonen.
That was
I'm old
that was
school.
one of the first discussions I had with Sassy at
She
Black
hate.
Label
Yeah,
because she's like, "Yeah, I hate Shonen." I was like, "Whoa, whoa,
she's a
what's?"
terrible person.
And
She's a terrible
that's
person.
how we became friends, is having a very professional discussion on why she was wrong.
Yeah, and she'll argue you down.
Oh yeah.
That hurt the hell out of me. But that's one of the things. Like for me, I love that. I the kind of nerd. I'm a comic book nerd,
Mhm.
retro television, and with a doctorate in cartoons. And
Right there with
that's
you.
my lane. And I love my lane because I love talking about the things of yesteryear and the nostalgia,
Mhm.
movie buff, and all of that. There's nothing like getting in depth about somebody that appreciates a fandom like
Mhm.
you do, because whether y'all know it or not, stories, tales, whether they told by movies, TV, comic books, or radio, are what shape you and your morality and who you are as a person. A lot of you have that moral compass. A lot of people joined the military because of Captain America.
Yeah.
Captain
Yeah.
America literally bolstered recruitment. That comic book cover of him punching Hitler,
Yeah.
iconic. Fucking iconic.
Absolutely.
You take when you rip open your shirt and you had a Superman theme playing in your head, that there's a reason for that.
Right.
Come on. When you sitting around playing with silly string and you go thick, that's come on. Everything in nerd culture has now shaped our lives. And I rather be immersed in that world than reality sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there's more supervillains in reality than there is in the world that I live in. And the hero always wins in the end.
I feel that. So with that being said, who are some of the whether it be comic book, whether it be TV, whether it be a movie, what are some of the heroes that you looked
Oof.
at growing up?
I am
Because no
listen.
shocker, like, my go-tos are the Red Ranger,
Mhm.
Leonardo, Captain America, character Optimus Prime, characters like that, where it's
The leaders.
the leaders who are trying to do the right thing, headed the right way, and I try to live my life that way.
Yep.
What are some of yours in that essence?
It's interesting that you say that because you said a couple of my favorite people. One, foremost, ironically, the whitest guy in the world and one of the blackest guy in the world share a commonality in Captain America. Steve Rogers is the human being that I would follow, and there ain't many that I would say.
Right.
There's a blurb, and I forget which Daredevil comic book, but Daredevil is basically looking at the Avengers show up on a scene, and there's a blurb where he says, "And here comes a man who commands a god," and you hear Steve Rogers tell Thor to do something, and Thor's like, "Got it, Steve," and it's like yes,
Yeah.
the human man that commands a god. Like, y'all don't understand. Mount Olympus, they gauge courage by Steve Rogers. I'm a big Steve Rogers fan. I fucks with him. Interestingly enough, definitely was not Leonardo. I'm a Michelangelo fan because
Nice.
party and jokes, baby.
Oh,
Party
yeah.
and jokes.
Yeah.
Tommy.
Nice.
I mean, listen,
Oh, yeah.
he's the only ranger to pimp smack the shit out of all 5 rangers out of their Zord. I was sold.
He
I was
really
sold.
is.
I was like, Walter, you were my favorite. You got the bullshit slapped out of you. Take that hip hop kung fu bullshit out of here. Come and slap the bullshit. Oh man. Who's some other people that I'm so it's a never meet your heroes, y'all.
Uh-oh.
Big Hulk Hogan fan. So disappointed in you, Terry. Terry, I'm so mad at you. But I'm mad at Terry, but I love Hulk Hogan. And I can separate the two. Huge Mr. T fan. I love the 18. I love the 18.
is so good.
The 18 was so a fucking one back in the day. I'm a big MacGyver fan.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
MacGyver and Dr. Beckett from Quantum Leap. I know it was weird. Well, everybody else was watching Doctor Who. I was like, "Fuck that, Quantum Leap." I'm on this. This is what I'm on.
I mean,
and last but not least, I will be remiss. Yeah, see, Doctor Who. These Doctor Who motherfuckers, they love that goddamn show.
I'm a diehard Whovian. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I respect Quantum Leap. I really do.
I respect Doctor Who. I mean, somebody got to love it. Somebody, not me, but somebody got to love it. I am a huge Bugs Bunny fan. Bugs Bunny has been a mainstay for fuckery for over half a century. Bugs Bunny literally has done it all and made it look cool. Dressed up like a woman, kissed men in the mouth, pimp smacked the shit out of people, shot people in the face. He's faced Dracula, witches. He done been from one end of the world to the other, opened up a university for tinier tunes, and played with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get more iconic than Bugs Bunny. And Jessica Rabbit, because I'm still waiting for you to call me. All right.
So I'm sorry, it caught me off guard. It shouldn't by this point, but it did.
Yeah. I like to keep you on your toes, Jack.
Thank you. So because you guys have reached out to so many people and you've had a hell of a run with HNIC, who have been some of the some of your favorite people to have on the show, some of the big guests.
Oh man, this well, if I'm gonna have that conversation, this all I gotta go first and foremost. Phil motherfucking Lamar. And if you don't know who Phil Lamar
God
is, number
damn.
one, slap yourself twice and then kick yourself in the ass. The voice of Jonathan Stewart, the voice of Virgil from Static Shock, the voice of so much of our childhood. Phil Lamar is a phenomenal human being, a friend of the show, official cousin of the HNIC, card carrying member. He got the t-shirt, can't wear it. He was like, Kurt, I can't wear this everywhere. I said, I know, Phil. It's all right. But Phil Lamar is an amazing talent, comedian, and that was probably my biggest moment. Now, mind you, I didn't say the biggest star I interviewed, but my personal biggest moment.
Oh yeah.
I got the opportunity to interview. Wow, I can't believe it just jumped out of my head. Hellboy, original Hellboy.
Oh, Ron Perlman.
Yes, and let me tell you something. Ron Perlman is a motherfucking unit.
I can imagine.
He quick with his tongue. He know what to like, and he OG. He been in this game for so long, and he's so masterful in his presence. Because even though he's gotten older, you're like, that's Ron Perlman. Like,
yeah,
shit. And that was probably one of the bigger stars that I got the interview. But in HNIC, we've interviewed the full cast of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh.
I gave that to, like, you know, the Trekkies on the team because I didn't give a fuck. Teffy, and you got to help me with this.
Okay,
Teffy got to interview one of the doctors, the most popular one. He was also Purple Man,
David Tennant.
Tennant.
You say most popular, and like that doesn't narrow you. The Batman Beyond quote. You have no idea how little that narrows it down.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And
David Tennant. That's my favorite.
Listen,
that's my favorite doctor.
When I mentioned it, she was like, "If you do this interview with anyone, not me, I will kill you." I was like, "Oh shit, okay, it's serious." Oh man, we've done interviews with the voice of Mario, Charles Marinette, Red Dead Redemption cast. We've been able to do it with a lot. I mean, I have to admit, we've been in spaces and places that I never thought that we would ever be. And when we find ourselves there, I mean, we've interviewed the Black Ranger. Go ahead.
Right. No, well, that brings up I don't know if it's a memory or whatever you want to call it, but something that I saw that you did this past year that because I wasn't even on the show at the time. I don't even think we were like this just yet.
Right.
Was New York Comic Con. Did you host a panel or you were on a panel?
So
I'm just over here lucky to have gotten tickets and gotten to get in the building, and you're over here on a panel. So like, tell me that story.
Interesting. So my man 50 Grand Hilton, he runs BlurredCon, one of the largest Black nerd conventions ever, just ever. And you know, having a large platform and also communicating within the culture, people kind of fuck with my brand of content. And he was talking about being a Black content creator in this space and time. And he was like, Kurt, look, I'm going to be at New York Comic Con. I would love for you to come up and speak. Would you be down? I had avoided New York Comic Con. I avoid all the big shit. Ironically, you know, the places where people like, I got to be at. I'd be like, nah, I don't want to go. I'll do my own thing. I don't like being in the, I never want to, and I hate it because this is what the kids say, but I never want to feel like I'm clout chasing a thing. If that's where everybody is, I want to be somewhere else building something different.
Right.
But I finally went to New York Comic Con. Ironically, I ran into my cousin Mark, who started HNIC with me, and we had a great time. A great time. Panel went phenomenally, and I love having the opportunity to encourage people to chase their dreams. That is though I'm no longer a minister, that doesn't mean I still don't minister. My purpose and my calling is still the same. It's to motivate and for you to dream bigger than yourself. So I got to impart that encouragement in my little piece of a sermon in New York Comic Con. It was a hell of an experience, and I was very, very, very blessed that Hilton included me in that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I dream that Curbside or myself can get to that level one day.
You ain't got the dream, baby. Just say the word. I'll make it happen. We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know your goals.
Yeah.
I always tell everybody when they come talk to me, tell me what your goal is. I'm not saying I can make it happen tomorrow, but
right.
we'll work on making it happen.
Well, we, not giving any spoilers out because nothing's confirmed.
Oh, we got
yet,
something on
but
deck.
we've already been working on something like that.
See, and I love it.
And I cannot verbalize or or even put to words like how much things like that mean to me, because that's the kind of stuff that I would do given the situation,
Also, that's why people want to do it for you.
Yeah, because that's the whole, not to steal the spotlight or anything, but that's like half the reason I started Curbside is
Steal the
because
spotlight, babe.
I had a decent following. It wasn't amazing, but I had a decent following on Twitter after being on a YouTube show called GTS. And anyone who's ever watched Curbside knows what GTS is. GTS Wrestling. Probably one of the biggest YouTube federations out there. And I have always been appreciative of what Grimm gave me and the platform and the spotlight that he gave me when he could. But I had a good following, and I wanted to use that following to bring up other people. I wanted to, if I had a friend, great example. My best friend, my older brother Tim, he runs Dice Hard with a Vengeance as our DM. Like, he's trying to be a voice actor, and he's gotten a couple gigs, doing commercials and whatnot, but he wants to be a voice actor for animation, for cartoons. He wants to be on screen. So I'm like, well, I'm going to use what platform I have to try to build you up and try to bring you up and to, get your voice out there. So maybe someone will hear it. Maybe someone will see it. But that was my idea, is I wanted to use my platform to bring other people up to where I was, and then me keep pushing forward as well.
I love it, because that's the way it should be. It should be supportive. It should be us building each other up. And at the end of the day, if you can't look out for those that have had your back through the struggle, what's the point in doing it?
Absolutely. I 1000% agree with that. So, wind down with because we've talked about the past and we've talked about what you're doing now. What is one thing that you really want to see for either yourself or for HNIC that hasn't happened yet, but you're working towards? Like, what's a big goal that you guys would like to have? Like my goal right now, because I'm working on it, I'm already sending out emails, I'm already trying to get connections, is I want to interview a Power Ranger. Doesn't matter what season it is, which color it is, I want to interview a Power Ranger. That is a goal I have. What is a goal that HNIC has that they have not yet gotten to, but is working towards?
I would say seeing the network get the support and build that up as much as I can. Okay. Having more people gain bigger followings so that now with all of us, we can cumulatively come together and build our own brands.
I like that.
I want to see everybody else win, because when everybody else wins, we can all win together.
Hell yeah. Love that. I absolutely love it. Well, we'll wind down with, is there anything you'd like to say or put out to the rest of the internet that hasn't already been said here? A final parting message from King Kurt Live. Outside of buy the damn merch, you cheap fucks.
Yeah, that too, but also if you're not an African American, I want you to strongly pick one in your life and pay them reparations. No, just no.
I already bought the merch, okay?
Yeah. I saw your jaw come through. I was like, oh, man, Jay. No, dead ass. Whatever you do it because you love it and because you can get paid for it. Money is not the most important thing, but it is an important thing. Never undersell the value of your talent, because a lot of people want your best qualities for free, and you not cheap, baby. So never forget that not only are you worth whatever you're asking for, but they got to pay to play. And if they don't pay yourself.
Like that. Well, Kurt, thank you for joining me. Thank you for sitting down today. I know we had a few technical difficulties beforehand, but I can't begin to extend my appreciation for you coming on the show, for shit, you even bringing me onto HNIC, for even,
and you better bring your black ass up.
As you have.
It's a black ass now. You better make sure your black ass is there every week.
As long as it went from toleration to family connection now.
As it should be, brother.
I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you sitting and talking with me. I appreciate any opportunity that HNIC's given me.
We just getting started.
Oh, absolutely. But thank you for sitting with me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. As always, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, tap the little bell on your YouTube app so you never miss the uploads. Buy the shirt at prowrestlingtees.com, and we'll see you guys next time.